Welcome to my review of the Westside Discs Anvil. Big thank you to our friends over at Dynamic Discs for sponsoring this video. They sent me this thing to test and review along with a ton of great plastic over the last few years. I really appreciate their support very much. Go to dynamicdiscs.com and check out the website. You know what they got. They got all the great Trilogy plastic, bags, carts, etc. Thanks to them. Thanks to you guys for watching. Let's get into the review of the Westside Anvil. So this is a pretty overstable mid-range for sure. Here are some flight numbers: 4204. This one's in the VIP plastic, same as Opto or Lucid. This one is very opaque though, which I tend to prefer. I like these. I like the way they look. They feel good. Has a little bit of marking on it from other discs it came in contact with. You can see that this one actually has a little bit of a dome to it for sure. It's not super rounded. It's almost like a, it's almost like a squared off dome. It's not super smooth across the top. It kind of sweeps up to the middle. Kind of interesting. I hope that's coming up. Definitely a little bit of a pop top to it for sure. 174 grams for this particular one, as marked right there. And here is a look at the profile of this disc. So it does not have the bead of the Anchor or the Justice. It has a shape kind of more reminiscent of like a Verdict or a Truth, I guess. Definitely some differences, but it's more like that than it is like a Justice. I actually have a Justice right here. Here is the Justice. Big bead, super flat top. Put these side by side. Give me a quick look. No bead on the Anvil, big bead on the Justice for sure. I have a lot of stuff to show you here. I'll explain that in a second. I have the Anchor as well. Let's take a look at that. Anchor also has a pretty substantial bead to it and kind of a more rock type shape. Then we have Champion Gator also sitting here. Let's throw it up next to that just out of curiosity. Vastly different than the Gator for sure. Super different there. Gator is somewhat unique in terms of shape. And last but not least, we have the MVP deflector. This one is actually pretty close. These are actually both relatively similar. This one has a flatter top though. The reason I have so many of these laying around close at hand is I just did a video with Jason Harden comparing the Anvil, the Anchor, and the Justice. Soon I will be adding a deflector and the Gator to that mix and doing a more expansive, very overstable mid-range comparison video. So if you want to see what the Anvil looks like flying next to the Anchor, next to the Justice, you can go check out that video if you're interested. But I'm going to show you the shots from that video right here as well. So there's not a lot to say about the Anvil. It's an overstable mid-range. You know what it's going to do. It goes left. It's not as overstable as a Justice for sure, and it's probably on average a little bit more overstable than an Anchor. It definitely doesn't have as much glide as an Anchor as well. The Anchor will hold up in the air for a little bit longer, but it will still fight a little bit of wind. It'll still have an overstable finish, and with no wind, or if you check up on it, don't throw it very hard, it's still a quite overstable disc, especially in the Opto plastic. The VIP Anvil is a great option if you are into the Justice or the Anchor, but you don't necessarily like that beaded mid-range feel. This could be a great option to throw in your bag. It's still plenty overstable to cover that roll perfectly, where it's got a ton of fade at the end of the flight. Throw it into the wind, pull it over on anhyzer, it's going to flex, all that kind of stuff. This particular one, not quite as overstable as the pink Sparkle VIP that I'm also working into the footage here. That was out of Jason Harden's bag. This one definitely, I don't know if it's the dome or what, but this one definitely not quite as overstable as that pink sparkly VIP Anvil. So that is it for this video. Not a whole lot to say about an overstable mid-range that you can't see from the flights, but it definitely falls somewhere in between the Anchor and the Justice. The Justice is still more overstable as far as I'm concerned, and definitely has that super ultra meat hook mid-range vibe, if that's what you're looking for. But the Anvil definitely fills that role as well, as a very overstable mid-range that can handle the wind, throw it as hard as you want to. Great forehand approach disc and short-range forehand tee shot disc. Solid flyer. If you don't want the bead, the Anvil is probably your best bet. That's my review. Thanks for watching. Check you later. Cheers.